Hello everyone, it's Joe here from Draft FPL and welcome back to a weekly series helping you find some good value free agents and waiver pickups in Draft FPL. Okay, so the first international break is over and done with, thank God. I don't know why they have to put it in so close to the start of the season. Just feels like as soon as you start getting underway, getting a bit of momentum, there it is. And yeah, it drives me mad, that first one. There's another one coming after game week 7 as well. So, we haven't got long. But I'm so glad for FPL to be back. Let's get stuck into some waiver picks. First up then, starting with defenders, I'm looking at Van Heck of Brighton. He is available in 75% of Draft FPL leagues, and that data is powered by draftfc.co.uk as always. If you want to check them out, you can get 1 month completely free. There's a link down below in the description. Use code SNAKEDRAFT and you will get the first month to try out all their tools completely free of charge, and then you can see if you like it, and I'm pretty sure you will. So looking at Van Heck, the next two fixtures, Ipswich at home, Forest at home, I think it's probably just about the best pair of fixtures you could get from a defensive point of view. Brighton have been pretty good so far, I would say, and this is a chance, these two fixtures, to really put some points on the board for some of their players. There are a couple of options in the defence. I think Van Heck is by far the most sensible choice. You could also look at maybe Veltman or Kadioglu, the new sign-in, if you fancy one of those two to start. Personally, I'm going to take the risk out of it completely and go for the boring pick, hope for the clean sheet, and pick up Van Heck for the next two fixtures. After that, it's Chelsea away, Tottenham at home. Pretty rough from a defensive point of view, so I'll probably jump off after that. But for these next two, a Brighton defender is an absolute boon. Next up, we're looking at the Palace new boy, Trevor Chalobah. Ignore the Chelsea kit. The Premier League have not yet updated him. There's a couple of them coming as well. Available in 98% of draft leagues. The fixtures for Palace are kind of mixed, but for this game week, specifically game week 4, Leicester at home, it's an absolute bumper fixture. I am not keen on the Leicester attack. I think they're probably the weakest in the league, in my opinion. So I'm absolutely looking to target, especially when they're away from the King Power. I'm definitely going to be looking to bring in any defenders that have this fixture. After that, it's kind of a little bit mixed. United at home, probably not a clean sheet there, maybe, but probably not. Then it's Everton away, which is not bad, but at Goodison, you think, not sure. Then it's Liverpool at home. So for the likes of Chalobah, I think it probably is just for this week, but the fixture is that good that I definitely would be looking to take the 1 week pick. If you've got the likes of Mitchell or Munoz, then it's a bit different because you've got a bit more attacking threat to hold through the slightly ropier fixtures. It's not guaranteed that Chalobah's going to start. I think eventually we will see the back three of Gahey, Chalobah, Lacroix. That seems to be by far the best three at the club. Chalobah, I think, is pretty likely to go straight in. He's got a lot of Premier League, he's got a bit of Premier League experience at a decent level. So I personally expect him to come straight in. The other player that I just mentioned, Lacroix, he has just signed as well. He has played under Glasner before at Wolfsburg, so that does make me think he's going to know the system quite well. He could also come straight in, but there is a little bit of risk for both of these picks. Obviously, when you're picking someone that hasn't yet played for the club, that first appearance, you never really know when it's going to be. And when it is just one good fixture, Leicester at home, it is a little bit risky. I'm just going to go for it, I think, because I like the fixture that much. And with a centre-back, you'd hope they're not going to come on for the cameo appearance. So as long as you've got a decent first auto sub, you should be all right. And it's not like the Palace defence have been so good that the likes of Chris Richards and Riyad and Klein are going to keep these boys out the team because they've not been performing that well anyway. Next up, I hold my hands up. I was all in on Nedeljkovic last week. I thought there was no chance he wasn't going to start. I was absolutely convinced. And so were basically all the predictions, Villa fans, everyone that would expect to know who is going to come in at right back. He came on for cash after he got injured. He'd been playing well in pre-season, looks like a real talent, was surely the next in line, and he didn't play. And he also came on for Bogard with like 20 minutes to go, which is another little headache to this situation. So I don't blame you if you went to Nedeljkovic and you think, I'm not getting involved in this mess. I definitely wouldn't keep Nedeljkovic unless we hear something from Emery to change your mind on that, because it's definitely less likely he starts than he doesn't, and it seems much more likely that Bogard is going to start again. I don't think he was amazing against Leicester, but I don't think he was bad enough to be dropped straight away. I don't know, it's a little bit of an annoying one because the fixture run's so good that I'm just personally going to have to risk it, and I'm going to go in for Bogard for Everton at home, Wolves at home, Ipswich away. Those three, we could be looking at 2 clean sheets out of 3 there, which for someone off the waivers is massive. So I'm going to risk it. I'm going to go for Bogard. If it switches this week and Nedeljkovic starts in game week 4, unless he's terrible or gets injured or suspended, I will go back to Nedeljkovic next week. And maybe I'll just keep chasing it all season until Matty Cash comes back fit. But, mistakes were made. I'm going to go in on Bogard this week, though. Sticking with Villa, I'm probably going to try and make the same mistake again in midfield, and that is banking on Jacob Ramsey coming in for the injured Leon Bailey. So I think the most likely outcome here is that McGinn goes over to the right-hand side and Jacob Ramsey starts on the left. We've seen that before from Villa, that lineup, and I don't think it would be very surprising to see that again. He is available in 96% of leagues, so he's widely available. He's got good FPL history. We've had seasons from him where he scored a decent amount of points. The fixtures are amazing. If you nail this pick and get this right, it could be an absolute winner. There's only one nagging doubt in my mind, and that is that against Leicester, so Ramsey came on when Bailey got injured about 15 minutes in. Then at like minute 75-ish, Ramsey then got subbed off, which isn't, I know you say when they're subbed on and subbed off it's not ideal, but he had played the majority of the game by that point and he hadn't had a start yet this season, so it's not surprising he only got 60 minutes-ish. Maatsen came on and played on the left wing, which has been happening a lot. Basically all his substitute appearances have been on the left wing, so that then does make me think there is a chance we see Maatsen instead of Ramsey on the left wing, which would just be an absolute nightmare for people that have gone in on Ramsey for these fixtures. I'm definitely more in favour of Ramsey. I think it's probably 70-30 towards Ramsey. That would be how I play it. I think if that is the case, I'm definitely going to go on Ramsey, because even if it flips and we get Maatsen starting, you're going to get half an hour out of Ramsey minimum. And with these fixtures, that, to be honest, that's probably better than a lot of the predicted points you'll find on the waivers anyway, even if it's only 30 minutes instead of 70 odd. So I'm definitely going to go in from just hope he starts. But yeah, there is just something in the back of my head saying I think that Maatsen might come in. But the other thing is that Maatsen could come in at left back for Luca Dean. So if that happens, because the thing is, and I'm just going to go back onto this a bit more. If it is Ramsey and McGinn, on the wings, plus Tielemans, Onana, and Rodgers, that is a very central midfield 5. All 5 of those players want to operate inside. None of them want to go round the outside, which is kind of how Emery sets up. So it wouldn't be crazy. And we have seen him line up pretty much exactly like that in the past. It just, something's telling me that Maatsen gives them a little bit more width and a little bit more balance in the side. But I hope I haven't put too many of you off, because I am still going to go in for Ramsey. I think he's a great pick, and I think he probably does start. Next up, Raheem Sterling, available in 47% of leagues. He has just signed for my team, Arsenal. The fixtures, the next 2 are pretty ropey. Tottenham away, City away. Rice is injured. Rice is suspended. Odegaard looks like he could be injured. it's a little bit of a tricky situation for Arteta. And I'm not convinced that Sterling starts, but I do think there's actually a decent chance, because I think what will happen is that Havertz will go into the midfield, will play Partey and Jorginho with Havertz in the right 8 probably, where Odegaard normally plays. Then I think Trossard will play up front through the middle, because he likes to come towards the ball, and that gives Havertz the opportunity to run in behind, which I think kind of suits all those parties pretty well. Then you basically have a straight 50-50 on the left, Sterling versus Martinelli. And I suspect whoever starts plays 60 and the other one plays 30. So it's annoying if you don't get the starter, but it's not necessarily a deal breaker. But I think even 30 minutes against a tired Tottenham back line would be enough for Sterling to have a decent chance of getting a return there, because he's going to be up against Pedro Porro. Spurs don't really defend, and Pedro Porro's the worst of all of them. He has got no interest in defending whatsoever. I think how this game's going to play out is that we'll actually see Spurs have a decent amount of the ball in the central areas, with the fullbacks coming inside and the midfielders staying on the ball a little bit. And Arsenal will probably end up hitting them on the break. We saw a bit of that in the game against them last season. And if that's the case, I really like the left wing. Whoever it is at left wing, I really think they're in for a bit of a field day. So I'm happy to go in with Sterling or Martinelli and just sort of hit and hope, really. Next up, we've got Harvey Barnes, available in 59% of leagues. It looks like he's got the spot now over Jacob Murphy. I think long term he is the better player, so I'd be surprised if he loses his place now he's got it, because like I said, I just think he's better. The fixtures for Newcastle look quite good on paper, but I actually don't like them that much. 3 away games out of the next 4, and Newcastle are one of the teams that are very much better at home. And the only home game they have in this run is City, which I don't love. So the fixtures look good on paper. Wolves, Fulham and Everton all away. I think they're actually all a little bit trickier than they look. So Barnes, I think medium to long term, good pick. He's not going to be at the top of my priority though, just because of these fixtures coming up. They could do well, but I don't love them. I really don't love them. I think they're quite mediocre. And actually, the total inverse of that is Tavernier. I always struggle with that name for some reason. It's in my head now. The Bournemouth fixtures are they don't look great on paper, but I actually quite like them. Obviously, Liverpool away in 5 is difficult, and that is not, that's not a fixture we want to target. But Chelsea at home I quite like. Saints at home is great, and Leicester away is good as well. So, on first glance, these aren't great, but from an attacking point of view, I actually think they're quite good. The fact that you've got 3 clear fixtures that I'm happy to play the attackers. Okay, Chelsea at home is not amazing, but it's a home game. Chelsea's defence hasn't been great so far, so I'm happy to start players in that game. Liverpool away is obviously tough, so you can bench for that one. And then Saints at home, Leicester away is really good. So, yeah, it's kind of the inverse of Barnes, where they don't look great on paper, but I actually do quite like them. And especially those fixtures in 6 and 7, they're really strong. Tavernier's data is really good. Not as good as Semenyo, so if he's free, then pick him up, definitely, because he is on fire at the moment. But Tavernier's is pretty good as well, and I actually think Bournemouth are going to score some goals this season. Evan Nilsson's come in and not really done anything yet, but I think he does help the system work a little bit better. Semenyo can run in from a little bit deeper, and he just takes so many shots. It's crazy. And that does help Tavernier's chance creation numbers, because all you have to do is pass it to Semenyo and he's going to shoot from basically any angle. So yeah, I like Tavernier, medium and long term, especially from game week 6. He looks like a really, really good pick. Next up, just a quick one, Alex Iwobi. The last few weeks on the Patreon, I've been in my data review updating a little table that shows the top 10, I really struggled to describe this, the top 10 weakest areas in the league. So like, for instance, Wolves left hand side, Forest's right hand side, whatever it is, they're both just examples. On that list is West Ham's right hand side. Alex Iwobi's the man that's coming up against that particular area this week, so I fancy that table's actually done me quite well so far this season. It seems that, you know, when teams have a weakness, they concede points from that area. Well, who's surprised about that? So Iwobi's one that I'm definitely looking at this week because, yeah, West Ham's right hand side is a little bit leaky, so I fancy Fulham to have a little bit of joy there. On to forwards then. Iliam Ndiaye, available in 87% of leagues. I'm pretty sure he's going to continue starting for Everton now. The fixtures are okay. Villa away this week's not great. Leicester away in 5 is good. Palace at home in 6 is pretty good. Newcastle at home in 7 is pretty good from an attacking point of view anyway. So I think these fixtures are okay. I mean, even Villa away, their defence has not been bulletproof so far. I think Ndiaye was really good against Bournemouth. I think Everton as a whole were really good. They just had this complete, collapse. So I think Ndiaye stays in the team. I think he's a good player. I think he was by far the most lively of any of the Everton boys, and someone that I don't think should be free in many leagues going forward. I think if he's free, unless you've got 3 really strong strikers, he's probably better than what you've got. And one more forward for you this week, Cameron Archer, available in 87% of leagues. Saints have got 3 fixtures coming up that they could definitely score goals in. I know they haven't scored a goal. Oh no, they have scored. Sugawara scored last week actually, didn't he? But I think they will get a few goals in some of these. United at home, Ipswich at home, Bournemouth away. I think these are the kind of games that Saints might actually get a little bit more joy in. Russell Martin said after last week that he's going to make a few changes, I think, and maybe drop some of his favourites in favour of some players that are knocking on the door a little bit. To me, that just screams Adam Armstrong for Cameron Archer, because I just don't think Adam Armstrong has it in the Premier League. Whether it's mental or physical or technical, I don't know. But I don't think he's got it. I really don't think he's got it. And it's quite obvious to see. So I think Cameron Archer's going to come in for him, in my opinion. He could, it might not happen this week. It might not happen at all. But that's the vibe I'm getting from Russell Martin, that it's time to change things up a little bit. And I think Archer and Ben Brereton Diaz actually seems a little bit stronger than Adam Armstrong and Brereton Diaz. So yeah, I think there's a change in the offing here, and I like the fixtures coming up. So he's got a bit of pedigree. This could be not a bad pick for the next few game weeks. Okay, that wraps up all my picks for game week 4. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Check out the Patreon in the link down below if you want more content to help you win your Draft FPL league. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.